coming up. Finally some nice sailing conditions. Because on Musa there is a brook. Tricky to get in actually. Scary to see. We're heading to the cliffs. There's 3 boats in here. That's actually quite full. I prefer being attacked by the bonksies in south.
Specificity of feral knitting is that
cold water swimming, they call it.
Good afternoon. It's Thursday and today we're leaving Lerwick. Behind me is the house known from the series Shetland. That's where Jimmy Perez lives.
back from here.
I know that this is a shock for everybody. Whoever did this is extremely dangerous.
And we're here moored at the fuel berth and waiting for somebody to come fill us up with diesel. Don't break your back. I'm not big enough. We are in the sound of Bressay. Just going out now, and there's a dive boat down there, so they need some space, we need some space to hoist the sail, so we wait until we're out of the sound and then we get the sails up. Finally some nice sailing conditions. We had a wind of about 17 to 20 knots from not full behind but from the aft, so we have a nice downwind sail. There's not a lot of waves, just a little bit, hardly any, and it's just nice plain sailing for once. Sound down there, which is a bit narrow, and the wind is quite gusty. It's slightly over 20 knots in gusts and about 17 without gusts, so we decided to take down the mainsail just to make it a little bit easier to maneuver. We're just sailing under the Genoa, and that's much easier to handle for us if it's narrow and the wind pipes up. We chose the route through Musa Sound here, between the island of Musa and the mainland, because on Musa there is a brook, an old Scottish tower from about 100 after BC, and it is the best preserved brook in Scotland, so we can see it when we pass by. That's why we chose that route. I like the raster charts of the UK Hydrographic Office on the Memory Map app, where they are available. These are the official UKHO paper charts on screen, and with a GPS overlay they provide a great alternative to electronic vector charts as in avionics and many chart plotters. A last check of the tidal height. We are just before low water, ideal to look for a spot to drop the anchor. As usual, we do a few exploring turns in the anchorage before settling on a particular spot. As we approach Channer Wick, our desired anchorage for the night, we spot another boat already anchored there. Not the worst choice for us probably then, but of course we must keep clear of them. First come, first served is the law when it comes to anchoring. It's not often that you see other boats in an anchorage up here. Next morning, as we lift the anchor, once again we are very happy with our deck wash pump. Even if we anchored on a sandy patch, it brings much less sand on deck. This was definitely a great update we did last winter. If you are interested in the details, check out episode 22 on our channel, where we show the design and fitting of it. Good morning, another day. It's Friday the 21st of July and we are on the way. We are already on the way here from Channer Wick out to Fair Isle, but first, what have we done yesterday? Yesterday we left Lerwick up here and sailed a short way, 15 nautical miles down here into Channer Wick and Anchorage, a nice anchorage. We had about 15 to 20 knots of wind yesterday. It died out completely overnight. The night was really calm and nice, and now we have about 10 knots going out, so just enough for us to sail. The route we're doing today is we're leaving Channer Wick here, we go around Sombra Head and then over to Fair Isle, and that's how it looks in the bigger picture. So we see where we are. Here is Fair Isle, just in the middle between Shetland and the Orkneys. We have 9 to 10 knots of wind, so very lovely, no waves, no nothing. Full sails up, main and genoa, and we even have a sailing companion a little bit ahead. They spent the night with us in the same bay and left about half an hour before us, so it's going to be a little bit of a chase for us, see who's there first. It's 10 o'clock in the morning now. We have done about 10 nautical miles. It's 19.5 miles to go. The wind has slightly freshened up to about 12 knots. Beautiful. It's coming from a right angle at about 40-45 degrees from the front, which is perfect for us to sail. We are currently in an area called the Sombra Roost, and this is well known for a bit of turbulence with the tide and the wind. So today it's quite okay. There are a bit of waves, but as the wind goes with the tide at the moment, they're not too bad. So we're sailing right through and going in a direct line to the Fair Isles. Should be there, if everything goes right, about 1:30, 2 o'clock. We're about 1 hour off. I'm just having a look at the harbour entrance. Can't see anything inside. The wind has freshened up, so have the waves. That was to be expected. We now have around 15 to 17 knots, and we put in the first reef on the mainsail. That gives us the same speed but much less heel, which is much more comfortable sail. About 1 more hour to go. there is quite some tidal stream pushing us this side here. And we're heading straight towards the tower in front of us. But in fact, actually, we're drifting right into the harbour, which is over there. So we have about 20-25 degrees of drift at the moment, which is quite tricky to get in actually. Scary to see. We're heading to the cliffs, but actually we're going down there exactly where we have to. We have arrived in Fair Isle in the harbour. It's a lovely, small, almost private harbour. There's 3 boats in here. That's actually quite full, but I've seen pictures with them rafted up 4 deep, so we're lucky, and it looks quite nice. Little do we know that no less than 5 other boats, including this massive Neil 47 trimaran, would arrive later today. Probably because this harbour is so small and familiar, we end up with drinks on all the boats. What a lovely community we have around us. But before drinks, we go for a short walk to watch the puffins on the cliffs in the dusk. On the way, we spot the large grey seal in the Caribbean-style turquoise water of the harbour. Next morning at 7 o'clock there is some movement in the harbour. The French trimaran, expecting the wind to shift northeast and to freshen up, making this harbour untenable, decided to make a run. Sequin had already spent a day or 2 on the island. Little Rosé decides to take a free spot on the harbour wall, leaving just the Scottish blokes rafted up on us. And finally, the Good Shepherd leaves for Lerwick with a cargo of local wedding guests. Now that we're all settled again, it's time to explore the island. The tiny island of Fair Isle is home to about 50 permanently resident humans, farming 1,000 sheep, and with an estimated population of 10,000 puffins and other seabirds, it is one of the most important places for bird watching. In 1948, the Bird Observatory opened and quickly became an integral part of the island life. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by a fire in 2019, and a new centre is currently under construction. Acrophobic as I am, I prefer being attacked by the bonksies instead of a walk along the path on the cliff edge, too close for comfort. With the good advice received from the locals after Catherine's initial encounter with these aggressive birds, I held my rucksack over my head to keep them at bay. but for me these birds seem more manageable than a deadly fall into the sea. Once more, we are overwhelmed with the beauty of the wildlife that presents itself before the backdrop of this jaw-dropping landscape. Given their strategic position, the lighthouses in the north and south of the island were the targets of several German air attacks during the Second World War. In an air attack in autumn 1941, the wife of an assistant lightkeeper was killed and her infant daughter slightly hurt. 6 weeks later, in January 1942, the wife and daughter of the principal lightkeeper were killed when a second air attack produced a direct hit on the main dwelling block. The principal lightkeeper of the North Lighthouse walked 3 miles through snowdrifts and gale force winds as he went to help restoring the South Lighthouse to operational order, and then went back again in the dark of the night to take his own regular watch. He was later awarded the British Empire Medal for outstanding services. On our way, we meet an old man and have a lengthy chat with him about the island and its inhabitants. He also shows us a rare orchid growing on the side of the street. With his help, we can visit Marie, a young French textile designer immigrant on the island. On our way to her workshop, we walk past Fair Isle Kirk, built in 1892 with its distinctive whitewashed walls and its beautiful stained glass windows containing all aspects of Fair Isle. We were told that these windows were commissioned by a widower in memory of his beloved wife and made by a local artist. The church also serves as the local library. Fair Isle is world-renowned for its traditional knitting designs, and these are one of the reasons Catherine absolutely wanted to make a stop on this remote island.
So it's around 10 hours on the machine and then 10 hours by hand.
Yeah.
The machine makes the panels, but then you have to sew them together. So it's that technique that takes a lot of time to actually do. Well, it takes so here is where there is a seam, but you cannot tell. But if I show you the inside, you can see that I'm not lying. but the seam is so well done that you cannot tell from the other side. So this is the skills that take a lot of time, and this is why the garments are very expensive. Is because they're all like made by hand, and even the machine, they don't have a motor or electricity. It's more like a loom. It's kind of very it's mechanical process. It's not yeah. And do I have it? That's what takes a long time. Like where the sleeve is attached, it's kind of like very neat and very nice.
Wow. Yeah.
So the specificity of feral knitting is that the same motifs never repeat twice. So it's all different motifs, and there's only 2 colors per rows, but then there's lots of color in the garment, which makes it even more intricate.
Yeah.
And we only use Shetland wool, so it's wool from the ship here, and in Shetland there is spun and dyed in Shetland, and that then we buy from the manufacturers. They have over 200 colors, so it's really good to be able to be very creative in terms of colors.
Yeah.
So,
That's beautiful. Apart from Marie's knitting workshop, we could not find any other knitwear manufacturer on the island. Nowadays, most of Fair Isle design knitwear is produced outside of the island. After this long and exciting island tour, Catherine cannot resist to test the clear blue water. Yes, it's cold, and yes, the seal is still around. Right, swim. Her fear of everything in and under the water makes her swim rather short. It's coming! It's coming! That Caribbean feeling.
No.
Cold water swimming, they call it.
Yes.
It's so fashionable now. It's very popular.
It is. Yeah. You see that.
Lots more people swimming.
You see them all over the place in winter time.
Winter time.
Yeah.
It's like a Scandinavian thing, but it's spread.
Yes.
Collies are amazing. Okay, they just got sucked.
The evening before we leave this gem of a place, one of our favorites, we make another visit to the Puffins. And whilst we could watch these cute fellows for hours, our thoughts circle around today's experience. This island is very remote, beautifully remote. Lerwick to the north and Kirkwall to the south are both about 50 nautical miles away. Its remoteness is a challenge for the people living here, and they must rely on themselves and their community. There is something particular about the people living on this small island. They form a very close-knit community, close to nature, and at the same time they are very open and welcoming to strangers like us. Everything has to be brought to the island by sea or air. The voyage by sea from Lerwick on the Good Shepherd takes about 2.5 hours, and there is a small airport with the occasional service from Sombra and Lerwick. Electrical energy is produced on the island with a huge diesel generator and wind turbines. When the wind turbines are unavailable, power is severely restricted and turned off at night. The island is very calm tonight. Tonight, a wedding takes place. A local guy gets married to a Swiss gal. Most of the 50 islanders have left on the Good Shepherd for Lerwick, where they will party the night away, because, probably the worst, there is no pub on the island. Other than a few sailors, the occasional small cruise ships, and some bird-watching enthusiasts, there are not a lot of visitors disturbing the peace and quiet of the wildlife and the people. And I think, actually, this is a huge blessing. And if you like this video, please share, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, press the notification bell and leave a comment below. Join us next time when we sail on to the Orkney Islands.